Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Prodigy, and today I wanted to make a little bit longer video for you guys to talk about an important topic, and that's really just the overall future of gaming in general. Now, this video was originally inspired by Star Wars Battlefront, which you're seeing on the screen right now. I'm sure a lot of you have played the beta, and a lot of you are planning on getting the game as well. Maybe you even pre-ordered it, but I have some things I wanted to discuss regarding this game, and I also want to bring in a couple other topics with it. So, first off, I want to say that I did a review of the beta and what I think of the game and what to expect from it earlier on my channel. You can check that out. And I stated some things that I thought were good, and I stated some things, most of which that I thought were problematic and that would overall hurt the game. So, after finding out this information that I'm about to tell you, it really just kind of cemented my already hesitant nature to get the game in the first place. So basically, if you want to pre-order Star Wars Battlefront, you have a choice of three options to pre-order the game. You can just pre-order the regular game, which is $59.99 like everything else, 60 bucks, and you get the game and that's it, and you're happy. Or you could get the deluxe edition for $70, which is $10 extra. And for your extra $10, you will get the ion grenade, the Han Solo gun, the ion torpedo. And on top of that, you get two emotes, which is, I don't know, if you play Destiny, it's like the little character animations that you do, but that's what you get with the deluxe edition. And I also want to point out that three of those things, the Han Solo gun, the ion grenade, and torpedo, you will unlock by playing the game anyway. So why are they charging access? They're marking it as instant access when you get the deluxe edition, so you don't have to work for it. But you literally only have to play like one or two games and you'll unlock these items anyway. So the fact that they're selling them as part of a deluxe edition as with instant access is ridiculous to me. Like, you're charging us $10 extra for something that we would get anyway. So they're basically charging you $10 for two emotes, which, like, is that seriously justifiable to be able to charge that much money? I know 10 bucks may not sound like a lot of money to you guys, but for the value of what you're getting, is that really justifiable? And I just think that it's not by any means. And it doesn't stop there, because if you want to get more than the deluxe edition for some reason, you can get the ultimate edition, which is $120, and that comes with the deluxe edition and the season pass. Now, the season pass is 50 bucks. All right, and it's gonna include 4 future expansion packs for the game, but you don't really know what they are because they haven't told you yet. So you're basically paying for a season pass that you do not know what will include. And I mean, you might not have a problem with that. A lot of people might not have a problem with that, but I personally, I'm really kind of iffy about the whole season pass DLC thing in the first place, because to me it's like, why does everything have to be a DLC? Why can't we just make the original game as good as we can possibly make it, and then offer some DLC in the future that can maybe add on to the game or make it a better experience, but not make it something that's made such a huge part of the game. That's just how I feel about DLC, and I just think that they're really taking advantage of that. And it's not just with the Star Wars. This is branching off into some other topics now. This isn't just with Star Wars. You see this with most, if not all, games today. Every game's gone kind of DLC crazy. Trying to get more money out of the consumers. A good example of that would be Advanced Warfare. I have my own opinions about the game, but the whole advanced supply drop system and releasing the new DLC weapons that you can only get them via advanced supply drops, or regular supply drops too technically, but they were really encouraging you to buy advanced supply drops to unlock these weapons. So it's basically like, I don't even want to call it pay to win or pay for advantage, because it's kind of worse than it's like pay for a chance to have an advantage, because you weren't guaranteed these weapons when you got an advanced supply drop. You weren't really guaranteed anything. It's like you can buy these supply drops and you might get the weapon that we released to you guys, and it's just like, that makes absolutely no sense to market something like that. But the sad thing is, it works, and as long as it works, they're gonna keep on doing it. So I mean, really, what can you do about it? I mean, Destiny also did a similar thing with the Taken King. You know, a $40 DLC, and a lot of people have argued that it just was not worth it because a $40 DLC, like that's close to the cost of a real game. That's 2/3 of a real game, and I guarantee you, the Taken King was not like adding 2/3 of the game. You got 3 subclasses, you got a little bit more of a campaign mode, a single player mode, or and a couple new strikes. But I don't know, $40 for a DLC seems crazy. Another part where Destiny messed up at was the random loot generating system, where basically you would have legendary weapons and exotic weapons that, you know, people naturally want because they're really good weapons, but the way you get them is by completing strike matches or crucible matches. But the thing is, it's completely random, kind of similar to Advanced Warfare with supply drops. You know, in Destiny, you could be doing a strike, and you know they're really hard strikes. You could be doing it for hours, and at the end, when you're finally done and you're waiting to see what loot you got, you know, how good you necessarily did in the strike has absolutely no effect whatsoever on the loot that you get or the weapons that you get. So you could get a legendary, you could get an exotic weapon, or you could get something completely worthless and useless to you. And you know, that pisses a lot of people off because it in no way rewards good players that actually put time and effort into grinding through the game and trying to, you know, get these weapons. You know, because that's what Destiny is really. It's a big grind majority throughout the game. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but for the people who enjoy that, they enjoy being rewarded for their efforts. You know, I don't know anybody who wouldn't enjoy that. And the same thing in the Crucible. You can get loot by playing Xbox Live or PS4 online matches in the Crucible, you know, against people. And again, the rewards are completely random. You know, anybody can get any weapon, and it just doesn't really reward people for their gameplay or their efforts. And you know, that really turns people off. Me especially, because I like Destiny, but that really gets me because it's like I'm trying to get some things and I can't get them because they just won't give them to me. Not because I'm a bad player, but just they just won't give them to me. So I mean, to me, it's just like kind of like what I said before. I really think game developers should focus on making the game, the original game that comes out on release day, as good and as content filled as possible. And if they want to offer DLC in the future, they can do that, you know, but don't make it so that the DLC is such a major part of the game that not having the DLC feels like you're missing out on something, because that doesn't really that's not really right in my opinion. So, I mean, that's how I feel about DLC and the whole sucking money out of the consumers. And let me point out to you that, so my question is, why does it seem like more and more games are releasing that are putting out less content in their games, but still marketing them for the same price? Like I said before, games like Titanfall, games sort of like Destiny, and Rainbow Six Siege, that's going to be releasing December 1st, doesn't have a single player campaign. Alright, and again, I want to throw that disclaimer with Destiny. I know Destiny technically has a single player campaign, but the game is online only, and they don't release the entire single player campaign to you. They release it part by part in DLC. So that's why I'm throwing Destiny in that category. But like I said, Titanfall, Rainbow Six Siege upcoming, no single player campaign. Star Wars Battlefront, no single player campaign. What is this growing trend of games, specifically in the FPS category, that no longer have single player campaigns? I mean, is that just an era that's dying? Is that something that is just they don't feel like they need to do anymore because most people play online, but still a good portion of people play single player campaigns. But I'm really just it's really interesting to see how there's been this shift and we no longer offer single player. We're gonna kind of get away from that, but we still want to charge you the same price, and we're still gonna offer you a bunch of stuff in future DLCs. In like Destiny and some other games too that are multiplayer only, but they're still the same amount. They're still the same price upon release as games that have more content, as games that have single player campaigns and have a lot more work put into them. And that's not to say that these games don't have work put into them, because I'm sure they have tons and tons of work put into them. But at the same time, it feels like these guys are offering less content for the same price, and it's becoming a growing trend that people are starting to follow, and because it's working, people are buying into this. People are buying these games that have less content, and they just put as little content as possible into the game, and then just throw everything else in a DLC that they originally would have put in the game, just to get more money out of the people who buy it. And I just think that's extremely backwards. But I mean, unfortunately, what can we really do about it? Because I'm just one man with my opinion, and obviously these tactics are working because people are still buying the games and they're still making money, which they're not wrong for, but like I said before, it messes up the experience. So my question is, why does it seem like more and more games are releasing that are putting out less content in their games but still marketing them for the same price? Like I said before, games like Titanfall, games sort of like Destiny, and Rainbow Six Siege, that's going to be releasing December 1st, doesn't have a single player campaign. All right, and again, I want to throw that disclaimer with Destiny is I know Destiny technically has a single player campaign, but the game is online only, and they don't release the entire single player campaign to you. They release it part by part in DLCs. So that's why I'm throwing Destiny in that category. But like I said, Titanfall, Rainbow Six Siege upcoming, no single player campaign. Star Wars Battlefront, no single player campaign. What is this growing trend of games, specifically in the FPS category, that no longer have single player campaigns? I mean, is that just an era that's dying? Is that something that is just they don't feel like they need to do anymore because most people play online, but still a good portion of people play single player campaigns. But I'm really just it's really interesting to see how there's been this shift and we no longer offer single player. We're gonna kind of get away from that, but we still want to charge you the same price, and we're still gonna offer you a bunch of stuff in future DLCs. But overall, unfortunately, I think that we can be expecting more of this type of stuff in the near future, with games offering less and less content and having everything in the DLC to the point where you'll basically end up spending over $100 on one game for the really full experience. That's just the way I think things are headed, and it really shows no sign of slowing down or reversing anytime soon. So I guess that's just the reality of it. But I mean, really, in an ideal world, a game can be good and have loads of content and not even have DLC. I mean, I want to make this point too because Grand Theft Auto 5 is, in my opinion, the perfect example of what a game should be. Because Grand Theft Auto 5, when it first came out, was an amazing game. It's if you've played it, it has loads of things for you to do. The amount of content in the game is ridiculous, and it's such an open and vast world that when the game came out, you didn't even really get bored of it because everybody loves Grand Theft Auto. But it's such a huge game, such a complete game that it was great. And on top of that, they continued to release things to add onto the game for free. They had free DLCs. They're continuing to offer free DLCs. They have another DLC coming out October 20th for the lowriders, and it's just like If Rockstar can do this with their game, with Grand Theft Auto 5 especially, as amazing and popular as that game is, then why can't other game developers do the same thing and offer loads of content in their games? And I'm not even saying they have to offer free DLC, but offer, keep a limit on the DLC so you're not basically taking away from the game just to put it in a DLC, or filling up a game with microtransactions. But I know this is kind of me just ranting on for a long time. If you stuck with me this far throughout the video, then I want to say thank you. But if you guys have anything to say about this, or if you guys have any opinions, please leave a comment in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this, to see if maybe I'm not the only one who feels like this. But like I said, I'm interested to hear what you guys say. But for now, I guess that's all I have to say. Please don't forget to like the video if you found it enjoyable. Sorry about that. And don't forget, of course, to subscribe for my future videos. But for now, that's all, guys. My name is Prodigy. Thanks for listening.